Questa sessione è particolare perché è dedicata a una categoria di studenti molto particolare, quella dei dottorandi, che ambiscono al titolo di formazione più alto nel percorso di studio universitario, riconosciuto a livello internazionale ovviamente. Passo perciò la parola a Francesca Brazzani, che presenterà il team e gestirà la sessione.
Buongiorno a tutti, and let's switch to English because this particular target of students to whom this presentation is going to is worth speaking in English. So I thank you very much, Professor Matteo Sonza Reorda, who is the Vice Director of the school, that we say, so the Dottorate School, and Elisa, that you know she's the officer in charge, head of the International Affairs area, and Marta Mancini, who is our special guest in this session. So, Professor Sonza, here you go.
Thank you, Francesca, for the introduction. Welcome to this session where we will provide some information about opportunities for our PhD students, allowing them to travel outside, basically to visit other research centers, either in universities or in industries, so that they can improve their skills, their experience, their competencies. Now, let me first emphasize the importance that Politecnico gives to these kind of opportunities, to this kind of secondments by PhD students visiting other research centers. To prove this importance given by Politecnico to these kind of activities, you can remember that the number of these travels by PhD students abroad is one of the parameters used to evaluate the departments and the PhD program. This is a proof that Politecnico really wants to invest in this direction, because we all believe that for a PhD student, spending some time, not just a few days, but some weeks or months in another research center is something that may significantly enrich his background, his or her background or experience. We believe that working with other researchers worldwide is a precious and unique experience from the technical point of view, but even from the let's say experience point of view, because we believe that living for some period within another research center in another environment may represent a precious let's say experience that the PhD students will benefit of in their future activities. Clearly, for PhD students, the situation is a little bit different than with respect to other students, I mean, at the master level or the BS level. A PhD student is a student, but is also a researcher. And as a researcher working in a department, he or she can benefit of a number of opportunities from an economical point of view. From this point of view, Politecnico provides to students some economical support for this kind of travels. The tutors and their research groups are supposed to support students for their travels abroad, for example, for this kind of activities. So the projects that we are going to speak today are a further opportunity to provide the students to yet another economical support to their possibilities of traveling abroad. So the key and simple message I'd like to convey is, yes, it is important for our PhD students, and we will do whatever is possible to, let's say, encourage them to spend time abroad. I mean, pandemic will end sooner or later, and this will become more realistic. But we believe in the value of this experience. We will work in this direction from acting on different levels. one of the important actions is using these funds which are available through the projects that we are going to speak today, like Erasmus+. And having said that, I think that it is good to leave my colleagues the floor so that they can enter into greater details about how to obtain, how to ask, and how you can obtain these funds and the approval for this money. Thank you, Francesca, for hosting me today.
Thanks to you, Matteo. And now, as you already said, Elisa is going to introduce okay, not the general call, but specific initiatives dedicated to the PhDs in the frame of the call. Before leaving to you, Elisa, because I would like only to point out that the YouTube chat is open, so that any if students have the questions, the mobility office is in charge of answering. And at the end of your presentation and Marta's presentation, we are going to answer the questions. Okay, Elisa, here you go then.
Thank you, Francesca. Well, I would like to welcome all the students that are participating in this presentation. I apologize for being a bit late, but we will try to give you in a very summarized way more information about how to apply in order to obtain scholarship to support your international mobility within the Erasmus Plus program. Let's enter into the details of the opportunities within the Erasmus Plus program. You could ask, where could I spend my international mobility abroad? Well, actually worldwide, both in European countries and in non-European countries. And as Professor Sonza already anticipated, at universities and research institutions, at international agencies, and at private companies and industries. What? Well, Erasmus Plus program offer opportunity to kind of opportunity for the studentship, so to assess international training, resources, or expertise, or the trainship that allow you to gain an international work experience. This is only available for the Erasmus Plus program countries. That means for the European countries. We will better details afterwards. What can the within the Erasmus Plus program, what can the PhD students apply for? Well, there are three different opportunities. Well, the Erasmus Plus, within the Erasmus Plus program countries, it is possible to apply for research activities, and you have two different choices. You could either select a partner university that is already listed in the call and specifically in the Annex A, or propose a university that is of your interest. So please remember that the Erasmus Plus program countries are countries defined by the European Commission that are European institution. The duration of your mobility could vary between 3 months minimum up to 6 months maximum. If you're interested in spending a period abroad but outside Europe, well, the Erasmus Plus partner countries is the right choice for you. It is possible to spend a period that could vary between 3 and 6 months in partner institution located in Australia, Canada, China, Israel, Japan, Lebanon, Malaysia, Russia, South Africa, and US. In this case, it is only possible to select institutions that are listed in the call and specifically in Annex B. The Erasmus Plus program countries trainship, so dedicated to experience a work period abroad, is only possible for the program countries, so the European countries. In this case, the only choice you have is to propose you personally a partner institution, not only university, to spend a period abroad. In this case, the duration is between 2 months and 6 months. Well, the within the Erasmus Plus program countries, the participation to the activities include also the a scholarship that is awarded to students that decide to accept to spend a period in one of the country that are listed and are grouped in the 3 different groups: Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. It is choice of the European Commission that gave us this indication. So for those who will select a country listed in the Group 1, the amount of the scholarship per month will be €500 per month. While for those who will select universities that are within the countries in the Group 2 and 3, the amount of the scholarship will be €470 per month. Please remember that those scholarships are tax-free. Within the Erasmus Plus partner countries scholarship, the financial support is composed by 2 different kinds of scholarship. A support for travel cost from PoliTo to host institution, and it depends, of course, on the travel distance between Politecnico and the host institution. The amounts could vary between €180 to €1,500. Moreover, there's the individual support, so the scholarship that amount to €700 per month. Again, in this case, since those are Erasmus Plus scholarship, though there is no taxation on this kind of scholarship. A very relevant and peculiar information for the PhD student is that the Erasmus Plus scholarship is additional to the PhD scholarship increase for mobility abroad. So it is very important. What does it mean? It means that during your experience abroad, your PhD scholarship is automatically increased. In addition to this increase, there will be also the Erasmus Plus scholarship. Well, how to take part to the Erasmus Plus program? We talk about 2 different kinds of activities. So within the Erasmus Plus program countries and the Erasmus Plus partner countries, mobility for scholarship, you have to refer to the call for application that we call Bando Unico 2021-2022. The bando has already been published in November 2020, and the deadline to apply will be January in 2021. While for the Erasmus trainship, there's a dedicated call for application. The call 2021 is already open, so it's now possible to apply, while the next deadline will be at the beginning of January, the second one will be in middle March, and the third one will be in middle May. In July, a new call will be published for the Erasmus Plus trainship opportunities. In the 2 calls, so in the Bando Unico and in the call for application for trainship, you will find all the information related to rules and requirements, selection procedure, and scholarship details. Well, some relevant information. First one is related to the insurance. So the accident insurance and the civil liability insurance are extended full period of road at the host institution. While regarding the health insurance, it is valid European health insurance card in the country where it is accepted. While for the mobility outside Europe, so in non-European countries, in partner countries, Politecnico di Torino given additional support to the students and directly sign dedicated health insurance. But anyway, please take notes and verify which are the requirements related to the health insurance in the country where you want to spend your period of study abroad, also considering the visa requirements. Well, to summarize some points, call for application academic year 21-22, Bando Unico, application opening in December, application closer in January. Call for application Erasmus Plus Trainship 2021. It is already possible to apply now, while in the next month there will be 3 next deadlines. How to apply? It's quite easy. You're already very much confident with the Portale della Didattica, I think. So you have to select Sportello Online, then Mobilità Outgoing Bucks, click for applying for outgoing mobility program, then select the exchange program, for example, Mobilità per Trainship in Europa, Erasmus Plus, and then follow the instruction that is described in the proper chapter of the relevant call. This is for the application within the Bando Unico. Well, how to apply? It is very important that you deeply check the requirements that are listed in the dedicated annex. For the Erasmus Plus program countries, trainship and partner countries, it is compulsory to include the nulla osta authorization that must be signed by the doctorate coordinator. It means that, of course, you have to agree with your tutor and with the doctorate coordinator regarding your mobility abroad. Since your activities is all focused on the research activities, it's very important that you jointly define with both doctorate coordinator and tutor what will you, well, the destination and the activity that you will have to develop at the partner institution. Within program countries and trainship mobility application, the application are considered eligible only in case both home and foreign institution tutor approve your application. For the Erasmus Plus partner country student, you must also submit an activity plan that we call the agreement that must be approved by home and host in the university before the application. Well, of course, if you have any doubts, please contact us through the well-known system, ticketing system, and select Mobilità verso l'estero. And with all the information related to the both Bando Unico and Bando and the trainship call are available on the website dedicated to the outgoing mobility. Thank you very much.
Okay, Elisa, we cannot see you, now we can. And thank you very much for your presentation. And so I give the floor to Marta as a testimonial. And if I correctly remember, you were so lucky to be there when the pandemic spread out. Is that right or not? Yeah, I think so. More or less. Yeah, I think so. So Marta, you're okay. It's up to you now. Okay. And so you can help us also in understanding what happened or not, or how you lived this experience. Thank you, Marta.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Marta Mancini, and I'm a PhD candidate in architecture history and project. And I did my mobility in Tsinghua University in Beijing, China. Actually, I was lucky enough to leave China just few days before the pandemic actually spread, because of there was a holiday period. So I was lucky to have already booked my flight back already in the summer before. So few days after I came back, I realized how problematic it would have been, and I had left all my stuff in the dormitory in the university, and it was impossible to go back and to have my stuff, to take my stuff. So I had to ask then, months later, somebody to help me to send me to Italy. Anyway, I would say, apart from this problem that let's say it has been totally not controllable from in all over the world, I would like to share my experience of PhD mobility, and I want to share also a few slides. So I'm PhD candidate, and I'm also part of the joint research project with top university. Before I started, Professor Michele Bonino applied for this project that implies the collaboration with one of the top 50 universities in the world, and also implies that the PhD candidates spend 18 months in another university. In my case, so the university was Tsinghua University in Beijing, as I mentioned before, and the collaboration has been under the supervision both of Professor Michele Bonino and the Chinese professor Zhang Li. And I've worked in strict contact with the PhD candidate Deng Huishu. So, of course, I could have access to 12 months of scholarship, but I would say it was enough. Luckily, China is not an expensive country in daily life. Of course, what is expensive is the visa and the flights to go and come back. So this is more or less a summary of my mobility and the organization of, let's say, the research. And so this joint research project implies close collaboration between Politecnico and Tsinghua. So me and Deng Huishu, we organized our mobilities in order to be always in the same place at the same time. So we divided our time of mobility, and I decided to spend the first 6 months in the second year, and the whole last year in Tsinghua. Unfortunately, of course, I couldn't finish my last 6 months, and this is what was a real pity. I was kind of upset, but of course, it could have not been different. And what I wanted to say and underline is that 18 months abroad during the PhD is a lot of time, especially because it's half of the time you have to develop your research. So you really have to think about the fact that you're going to spend time in another institution, and especially confront yourself and present your work to different people, to different research groups, different professors, and they will always give you different points of view. So I would say the PhD mobility is a useful, stimulating, and enriching experience, both at the academic and at the personal level. But I cannot say it was just easy and with no difficulties. I have to admit that. Also because I would say that PhD itself is already a challenging experience where you put in question a lot of yourself and the way you think, the process of your reasoning, and the way also you approach the scientific knowledge production. So I would say that the fact of spending so much time abroad was a double challenge, also because I had to deal with two institutions, with two ways of thinking, with two cultural contexts. So this was quite challenging, but at the same time, it was incredibly useful for me, also because I understood that I needed to find my own position in all this context that I had around. So I asked myself the double amount of questions, and I tried to give myself the double amount of answers in order to be sure of what I was thinking and what I was defending about my thesis and my work. And of course, also is an incredible opportunity because you can start relationship with professors, with other PhD students, and something that would have not been possible without spending so much time there in our daily life in the same place. So on the personal level, I would like to share some just moments of my life, also because I was born and I grew up in Turin. I had already the opportunity to participate to Erasmus in Germany during my master degree, and I had done already the master thesis in Beijing, in Tsinghua. But I want to highlight the difference of the two cities, like what kind of cities do you face once you go out of your university and you want to understand what is around you. So the scale between Beijing and Torino is totally different, and also the scale of the university is totally different, because in Beijing the campus, it's like a small city, and you can find anything in the campus: the dormitories, shops, libraries, classrooms, anything you need, it's already in the campus, and somehow the city outside. But in Turin, it's the other way around. So after you finish your lesson in Turin, you go to the city, you go back to the places of the city. So this is a very different way of experiencing the place where you are. So this is one of the axes from the south gate of the Tsinghua University, that colors of yellow, beautiful colors in autumn. And here on the right is hidden the building of the Faculty of Architecture. And what amazes me is that you think about Beijing in such a big city, urbanized area, and then you go to the city center and you discover that the city center is just one floor high, and you can only go around with electric motorbike on bicycles. So this is a contrast that I've always loved about Beijing, and there is always something to discover, to understand about this city and China anyway. So this is another, let's say, an example of something that I would have never done if not going there and spending so much time there. This is a cultural center that was designed by my professor, Professor Zhang Li, and it's 2 hours by train away. So I took the train. I stand for 2 hours. I was the only Western person in the train. Everybody was looking at me like I was a strange thing. And then I arrived there. We took 40 minutes of taxi, and we arrived in this like totally newly constructed place with no people living there, but it has become a super famous touristic place. So this is another place I would have never visited. This is also another library designed by Li Xiaodong, another professor of Tsinghua University, that it's 2 hours away by bus from Beijing, that it's close to the public, because otherwise it has become a very popular place in social medias for photographs, for taking pictures, but they want to keep it for the local community. So if not collaborating with the university, it's impossible to go there. So, and of course, at the very personal and friendship level, I had the possibility of working with Dan Huishu, who is a very nice girl. We were lucky enough to find each other, to share a lot of personal experience. And and also to have like fieldwork sessions together, and then being in the middle of Beijing on a Saturday morning with a 0 degree or like 10 degrees under zero, and seeing people playing Genzo. So it's a real opportunity to understand a different way of thinking, a different way of enjoying, a different way of using the city that otherwise I would have never understood. And something else is like, of course, it's very difficult for the language. I've been learning Chinese, but I still have reached only a basic level, so I can have a daily conversation with no problem. But of course, at the academic level, it's very difficult to establish unless you have started in high school, and I didn't have this opportunity. So of course, you have to be very, let's say, also accept the challenge and accept something that like what is not foreseeable. You have to be ready to face any moment of difficulties, and also because most of the people will not speak English, and so you will have to find another way to communicate and to understand also very simple things. But I believe this is an amazing experience, and I would suggest to everybody, both at the academic and at the personal level.
Okay, here we are. Marta, thank you so much for your enthusiastic presentation. And I wasn't, I cannot see, I couldn't see your face, but your smile now and your voice gives the idea of the enthusiastic experience you had. And just one little question. Thinking about the mobility outside abroad in that kind of countries, sometimes is frightens because of the cultural shock. Did you have a cultural shock, or is something that goes over in a while, or?
So yeah, I had the possibility of visiting China actually before my experience of PhD mobility for personal reasons, and I didn't expect at all to find this kind of context, this kind of culture, and I was totally amazed. So I would say that I'm pretty open. So it was not that difficult. I was more curious than frightened and then scared of anything that I was. Of course, I had in previous moments I had problems of health. It was not easy because at the beginning I couldn't speak Chinese. But anyway, you deal with it. You find the way to improve yourself, to challenge yourself, and it's not that different. I've seen other people that maybe, I don't know, they are not that open-minded, or they're, I don't know, it might be, anyway, it might be not so easy. I think you have to be ready to face something else, and also to understand yourself.
And okay, and but do you speak Chinese now?
A little bit.
Okay, and just one question that comes from the chat, and how a PhD student can choose the destination, and it's agreement with the tutor, or is it the PhD it's compulsory to choose one destination in the legato A or B or whatever, or is it free? Is it free and you can choose a destination on your own? Elisa, I think it's for you, this question. And this is the last
Yes, I think it's for me. So, well, it depends. The destination depends on the kind of program you choose. So if you are interested in a European destination, you could choose, you have both opportunities. You can either select a partner institution list in the annex dedicated to the PhD destination, or propose a different institution. Unfortunately, within the Erasmus Plus partner countries, it is not possible to propose destinations that are of specific interest of the students, but the choice must be done starting from the list of the partner institution listed in the dedicated annex. While for the trainship activities, there is no predefined list, so you are free to propose the destination you are interested in. Well, regarding the second part of the question, relation with the tutor, with the PhD coordinator, well, you have to define together and jointly with your tutor the destination and the content also of your research activities developed by the partner institution. There are some differences between the three activities, so mobility in Europe, outside Europe, and mobility for the trainship. But what we suggest you is really to well in advance start talking and discussing with your tutor to analyze the opportunity that the Erasmus Plus program gives you, and to jointly define which will be the best solution for you and the best option for you.
Okay, I think that now the time is over, and I thank you, Professor Sonza and Marta to be our guest and then this presentation, and Elisa, of course, and I hope that all PhD students can apply because it's a great opportunity for all of us. And Alessio, now we try to close this long second day of the International Days.
Grazie.
Ok.
Grazie,
Ciao,
ti rispondo in
Alessio.
italiano, Francesca.
Esatto,
Ciao, grazie.
grazie mille.
A te e a tutti gli ospiti, e siamo giunti alla conclusione del viaggio praticamente, con cui abbiamo esplorato destinazioni e opportunità. Terminano qui le 2 giornate di incontri, possiamo tranquillamente dirlo. Gli International Days però proseguono ancora domani, 4 dicembre, con sessioni riguardanti progetti di mobilità e molto altro, con le opportunità per ciascun corso di studio. Per non perdere nulla, o se volete rivivere i contenuti delle sessioni e delle giornate, trovate sul canale YouTube le registrazioni, praticamente quasi in tempo reale, avrete la possibilità di trovarle. Grazie per averci seguito, arrivederci alla prossima edizione.